Welcome back, guys. Day 5 of circular motion. Okay. In yesterday's class, I've discussed some ideas about vertical circular motion, but vertical circular motion has some other discussion after work for energy, after the next topic. Okay. So we are not done with the circular motion topic entirely. Circular motion comes back in the next week or the next, most probably. We'll see. But for today's class, there is just one more concept that is left out. I didn't discuss that yet. I will discuss it today, which is called as the variation of gravity with the Earth's rotation. Okay. Have you ever heard of this thing called the acceleration due to gravity on Earth is not constant? Have you ever heard this? The basic idea is, the planet Earth, right? It is rotating about a specific axis. It is entirely rotating about a specific axis. So because of that, every person, let us say there is a person standing here and there's a person standing here. Regarding this idea, if you have any doubts, please raise your hands. Okay, don't hesitate to raise your hands. Uh, so all these persons will definitely go in circular motions. This man goes in a circular motion like this. This man goes in a circular motion like this. They are clearly having different radiuses. They're clearly having different radius. This man rotates like this. So for all of them, let us call this as R1, R2, and R3. They will experience a pseudo force MR1 omega square, MR2 omega square, MR3 omega square. Because of the radius difference, because of the difference in the radius of their orbits, not the Earth's radius, okay? Not the Earth's radius, I'm talking about the radius of their orbit. They're going around like this, right? So because of this, you're experiencing a pseudo force. Every person on planet Earth is actually experiencing this pseudo force. Okay, we are all experiencing this pseudo force. Arnav says gravity is more at the center than in poles. No. Gravity is actually more at poles than center. Okay. So because of this pseudo force, you definitely have gravity mg. But because of this pseudo force being really high, you will experience a net weight. The person who's on the equator doesn't really entirely experience the weight. The apparent weight for that man will be the weight mg minus mr3 omega square. Sorry. That is the weight he will be experiencing. For a man here, mg is in this direction. Mg is always towards the center, right? And mr omega square's component, let us call this as angle as theta. So this is theta. So this is mr2 omega square cos theta. So the weight experienced by this man will be, I'm writing it here, mg minus mr2 omega square cos theta. Okay. And this man, it will be like this. Of course, we'll have to take weight like this and the component like this. And at the pole, you won't have any effect. So for a man who is at the pole, Earth's rotation does not have any effect in his weight for a man who is at the pole. But for a person who is at the equator has the highest amount of effect because of Earth's rotation. Okay. So this is just like a basic idea. I will have to discuss it in the much detailed version. Right now, I will discuss that. Okay. I'm sorry. Can somebody tell me what is a latitude is? What's latitude? Can somebody tell me? What is VAP? VAP is nothing but weight apparent weight. Okay. W apparent. It's not the original weight. That is how the weight looks like. Okay. Aniket raised his hand. Aniket, what is it?
Sir, for latitude.
Yeah, latitude. What is latitude?
Sir, those lines those circles which divide the earth from top to bottom.
Like this?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But the problem is latitude is measured in angles. You know that, right? Do you know that or not? Aniket, you have to raise your hand again. Aniket, speak up. Or Aditya, you want to speak? If any of you know what is latitude and what are those angles?
Sir, can I say?
Yeah, Aditya, tell me.
Those are horizontal lines, sir.
Yeah, those are the horizontal lines. Yeah, but why are
Line.
they measured in angles?
Because sir, because the Earth is also tilted at an angle, and the angle by which the rays fall on the sun.
No. Vamshi raised his hand. Okay, wait a second. I closed your names. Vamshi and Kritika. I'm unmuting you both. Yeah, guys.
Sir, the latitude ranges from 0 degrees to 90 degrees.
So,
The
like, why
poles.
are they measured in angles? It's the circles, right? We're talking about these circles. Why are they measured in angles? Kritika. Kritika?
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you. Your voice is way too low.
Sir, can I speak?
Yes, tell me, Arnav.
Sir, I think that there is one imaginary line drawn from the center of the to the bottom, like one axis. So,
Like this?
according to yes, sir. So, with that axis, we are measuring the angles of latitudes.
Oh, so this is the angle that we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Can somebody
Sir.
tell me? Can somebody tell me what is the angle of latitude at the equator?
0 degree.
0 degrees.
Here it is 0 degrees,
0
and we
degrees
talk
to the
about 90
equator,
degrees. We're
sir.
actually talking about this angle, okay? Every time we're talking about latitude, we're talking about that angle. And
Yes,
guys,
sir.
remember, you might get asked this. This angle is called as co-latitude. We simply say that co-latitude. You might need that in some problems. Sometimes in some problems, they don't mention the latitude; they mention the co-latitude. Pritika, I still can't hear your voice. If there is anything that you want to say it out loud.
Sir,
Yeah, Vamsi.
sir, because why they measurements? Because equator goes around the earth. That's why. Is that reason?
Yeah. The point is like I wanted to show that this is the angle. Like when we are talking about the angle, when you're talking about let us say 57 degrees. So it's 57 degrees actually is this. This angle is 57 degrees. Okay, that's what I wanted to tell
Sir,
you.
so how do we explain this statement that it takes 4 minutes for Earth to rotate for 1 degree? Like they say that, right?
No, I didn't get you. I can't hear your voice, but basically.
Sir, can you hear me now?
Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I'm telling if it's like the angle is like that, how can we explain the statement that it says like it takes 4 minutes for Earth to rotate about 1 degree
No.
to
Those are
1 degree?
vertical angle. Those are vertical lines. Those are different. We're not talking about that now. Okay. Don't bring that
Okay,
now
sir.
to this problem because we're not talking about those rays. Okay, so those lines. We're talking about the latitudes. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So the thing is, I'm considering from the equator at a specific point, the latitude is mentioned as theta. So for this man, mg is clearly acting towards the center. And for this man, mr omega square, m radius is this for this man. Earth's radius is this. Okay, Earth's radius is capital R. So m mass, sorry, let me write it again. M small r omega square is acting like that. Now I have to take a component of him in the direction of weight. So Kritika, if you still have a doubt, or lower your hand. So this is mr omega square cos theta. Am I making any mistake here, guys? If I'm making a mistake, please feel free to correct me. And one more important thing is the apparent weight. Again, Neeti and Preeti, WAPP is nothing but the apparent weight. Okay, mg is the original weight that we always talk about, but apparent weight is just the weight that is apparent because of the rotation. There is some net weight, right? So we're talking about that net weight. So mg minus m small r omega square cos theta. But people don't leave it like this. You can't leave the answer in terms of small r. You actually need the answer in terms of capital R, which is the Earth's radius. So from this triangle, if this is theta, this is theta. So small r is nothing but capital R cos theta. So I put this in there. Okay. So the apparent weight becomes, wait a second. Yeah. The apparent weight becomes mg minus m r cos theta omega square cos theta. So mg minus m r square cos square theta omega square. R, if people write it as m, they take it out common and write it as g r square omega square cos square theta where theta is the latitude angle. Some people in the textbooks it is given as sine square theta because they mention as Pritika, you still have a doubt? Okay. What is it, Pritika?
Sir, how is it r square over there?
Wait a second. Did I? Yeah, it's not r square. Thanks. Okay, good. So the angle is taken as sine square theta because they take this as angle. I mean, it's your call. Okay, this as theta, the co-latitude as theta. So it's totally your call. So this is the apparent weight, and because of this reason, we clearly experience lesser weight on the equator, and weight is clearly the same thing as mg on the poles. So you will definitely have different weights on the equator and on the pole. Arnav says, sir, can you say how to find apparent weight in a lift? In a lift, we already talked about it. Why are you asking it right now? We'll discuss that later if you have a doubt. And one more important idea is this: people write it as mg dash or the g effective. So g effective, g dash is nothing but g minus r omega square cos square theta. If only they put all the values as Earth's radius as 6,400 kilometers, Earth's angular velocity as one day per full rotation, and all the angles, they actually get the values as it is the value of g is somewhere around 9.78 here. It is somewhere around 9.83 here. So on an average, we take it as 9.81. Do you remember g? 9.81 meter per second square. On an average, we actually take the value in between these two things, but it's not exactly any of those values. Okay, the value varies. Sir, what is g dash? G dash. I'll write it. The apparent weight is written as mg minus mr omega square cos square theta, right? So I take m common, g minus r omega square cos square theta. This entire thing is written as mg dash, the apparent acceleration due to gravity. Okay, this entire thing, that's all. So you put all the values of Earth's rotation, the latitude, the latitude is mentioned. So you just have to put in all the values and you'll get the correct answer for that. There are in fact questions on this thing in Hitsibama, I guess. Let me go through that thing. No, it's not here. It is there in the next topic, I guess. Where do we find those problems? I guess it is in the next topic, not this topic. After this idea, there will be new problems on angular velocities and other things. So you will find some problems on that. Okay. So remember this idea about Earth's gravitation effect. Let me show you that in the textbook also. Yeah, here it is. Effect on Earth's gravity. Don't worry about this thing that you're looking at right here. Yeah, this is clear. This is good enough for you. Mg dash equal to mg minus m omega square r. There is cos square theta. He's just talking about the equator. Okay. So that is it for the theory from the from the topic for this week's syllabus. So that is good enough for you people. And as I mentioned, I wanted to discuss some more problems on this topic. So I will discuss that today. Look at problem number 12. This is a very important question. You will face this question multiple times. Okay. So I want you to clearly pay attention on this problem. He says there is a ring. There is a ring which is going around. There's a ring which is just going in a circular motion. Okay. When the ring is going in a circular motion, like you can feel that, right? When the ring is going in a circular motion, because of the centrifugal force, the ring is kind of like, it is kind of getting that stretching force because of the same rotation, because of its original rotation. It is getting that kind of an expansion, right? So what is the amount of tension that is created in the ring? That is what he's asking in that question. Okay. I'm explaining the question again. Clearly listen. This is a very important question, guys. Don't ever neglect this question. When you will have to repeat this method for a lot of problems in the future. So that's why I'm stressing it. So there is this ring which is going in a circular motion. I mean, like just rotating about its center with some angular velocity. Okay. Now, when it is rotating, that ring kind of feels expanded. Like you know the pseudo force, because of the pseudo force, or you can explain it in any manner, but it kind of feels some tension when it is trying to rotate. Okay, and you rotate it very quick. Or I can show you this from yesterday's. I'll show you one of the posts. Okay, from the past, not this one. If you look at this post, yeah, look at this. Why is it not running? Yeah. When it is rotated with enough angular velocity, it is getting stretched. That is a skateboard wheel, basically. That's a skateboard wheel, and that's just a water jet. Okay, that water jet is putting so much of pressure on it. The water jet is just putting so much of pressure on it. It's actually turning, and because of that force, it is getting expanded, right? So it's, you're talking about the same kind of an idea here. Okay, we're talking about the same kind of an idea. When the ring is rotating about its axis, it's kind of trying to getting it here. It's not getting expanded here yet. We will talk about the expansion in another topic. But the kind of tension that is developing, the rotation is developing a specific tension. We are going to talk about that tension. Okay. So to develop the tension, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small element. And if you clearly remember, every time I want to find the tension anywhere, I break the body. I just imagine that I break the body there. So I only consider this bit of the body. Exactly rotating. Okay. So from this part, there is tension. From the rest of the ring, there is some tension T. There is some tension T. So the tension has, this is how it is, right? Like I'm going to draw this thing again separately in the next page. Oh, there's space here. So I'm going to draw it really big. It is very important that you pay attention to this question, guys. I'm just taking a small part in the ring. The tension is acting like this. The tension is acting like this. Let us just imagine this is a very small angle. This is theta and this is theta. That total angle is 2 theta. And the whole mass, basically the ring's mass, if we mention the ring's mass as m, let us just imagine. The m mass is for 2 pi angle. The m mass is for 2 pi angle, right? Like entire angle, m mass. We are only having some 2 theta angle here. So the mass will be m by 2 pi into 2 theta. So m theta by pi. First of all, the mass of this part is m theta by pi. And that very mass is clearly experiencing a pseudo force, which is m into theta by pi. Mass into radius into omega square. This pseudo force is being balanced by these tensions, which has components. The tension has vertical components, tension has horizontal components. Okay, if you clearly pay attention, if this is theta, this is theta, this is theta. So this is theta. So this will be t cos theta, this will be t cos theta. So the vertical components will be, let me show that again. This is theta, right? So this is t cos theta, this is t sin theta, this is t sin theta. What I'm trying to say is this t cos theta and t cos theta simply balance each other. You don't have to worry about t cos theta anymore. What I'm trying to say, t sin thetas are balancing this force here. These two t sin thetas are actually balancing this force. So I'm going to write that now. Two t sin theta equals to 2t sin theta equals to m theta by pi r omega square. M theta by pi r omega square. Now, we first of all in this equation, I imagine this angle that I considered is very, very, very small. Now, when the angle is very small, if you properly remember one thing, when the angle is very small, sin theta can also be written as theta. So 2t theta equals to, yeah, this is an approximation. This is not exactly how you write it. Almost an approximation. M theta by pi r omega square. Theta cancels out. And what do I have? Tension equals to m by 2 pi r omega square. This is a tension that is being developed in the ring. And if you want to put the value as omega, like you can write the value of that thing also, mr v by r whole square by 2 pi also you can like simply write, and you can simplify it further. But that is how the problem is. So if you look at the problem at the end, he's trying to find the tension. That is the tension that also he also has, mv square by 2 pi r. I have it in terms of omega, he has it in terms of v square. So this is a very, very interesting and important problem, guys. Don't ever, I mean, like if you didn't understand what he did there, simply follow my method. It's almost the same thing. It's just I took some angles different, he took some angles different. Okay. So that is one of the most important ideas that you should always remember. This is a very important, interesting and important part. All right. You might get this question a lot. And what else is there? What else should I discuss? Question number 13 is something that I won't discuss in the class because it's much of an advanced level idea. It depends on your personal interest. If anyone personally reaches me, I will try to discuss that problem. Guys, I want you people to read through these short answer questions for short answers. You see this? These questions don't have answers in your textbook. They are just plain old discussions. Like you look at the problem and you bring the discussion to me and we will discuss. That's all. There is no specific final answer to any of those questions. So they're quite interesting questions. So you should go through those questions also. From objective 1 and objective 2. Objective 1, there aren't much questions that you people asked today. I mean, I discussed them already. If you have, we will do one thing. Since tomorrow is anyway a free session for us, like we have an extra day for your exam. Today is Friday, right? So tomorrow you have an extra day for the doubt session also. So we will discuss all the doubts that you have tomorrow. Let me discuss the 20th question. Let's just end this session, okay? I will just discuss the last question, I mean the rest of the questions tomorrow if you have any doubts. Let me just discuss the question number 20 and end the session. If a car goes on a horizontal circular road of radius r, the increase in speed, the friction coefficient between the tire and yeah. So this is the question that I was discussing yesterday. I mean, I gave some idea, but I will discuss it today. Watch this thing. Car is going in a circular motion. Mu mg is in some direction. Some part of it is providing you centripetal force. Some part of it is providing you a tangential force. All right. So let us say it is already at some speed v. So there is mv square by r, and there is m into a, which is nothing but dv by dt. Okay. Now he says this friction is responsible for these two forces. So I would simply write root over mv square by r plus ma whole square must be equal to mu mg. Okay, this is like a limiting condition. We are already considering the maximum friction case. So at this maximum friction case, if you try to find the velocity at this speed only, it tries to slip. Okay, we're already taking the maximum condition here. So it's fine. You can directly find the speed and find the answer. It is a slipping case only. I considered the maximum friction already. If it isn't, I would have simply taken some other friction and solved the problem. But since it is already, sir, is it contact force? Contact force is a resultant of normal force and friction. We are not talking about normal force here or now. So no. Gopika Rani asks angular frequency. And what is frequency? Frequency equal to 1 by time period, right? Frequency is nothing but 1 by time period. Angular frequency is nothing but 2 pi by time period. So omega can be written as angular frequency also. It's a simple idea. Let us say you are shooting 5 bullets per second. So the frequency f equals to 5 bullets per second. Angular frequency is simply 5 rotations, something like 10 rotations per second. 10 rotations per second. That is angular frequency. Okay. So it's just talking about in terms of angular rotations. So that is angular frequency. It's nothing different. Some people actually consider angular velocity as angular frequency, but be careful when you do that. Some people do that, some people don't do that. So leave that part. It's fine. You be careful. Check whether he's talking about angular velocity or frequency. Is it, sir, I didn't get how under root came. Acha, it's just a resultant of these two forces. They are perpendicular to each other. Or no? Since these two forces are perpendicular to each other, I simply take the like root over f1 square plus f2 square. That's all. So that's it, guys. That's it for today's session. I don't want to drag it much. You people send me as many doubts as you have. Tomorrow's session most probably will on Google Meet. Okay, I'll be just here sitting clearing doubts. Okay, I won't be taking a class tomorrow. It won't be a class. I'll be just discussing doubts. So it's all about just a doubt session. Aniket says, could you please explain why is there? Oh, Aniket, thanks for mentioning that. This is not regarding circular motion, guys. Why is it static friction when a car is going? I should have meant, I think I did mention this thing when I did discuss the topic of friction. When a wheel is rolling on a surface, okay. Now it is important that you need to understand that there is no sliding, okay. You take this thing, when it is rolling, the surfaces, they're not sliding against each other. They're being with rest and the rest of the body is rolling. That is how it is happening, right? You know the thing, you will get a better idea about this thing in the topic of rolling. But whenever you have a wheel running on a ground, the wheel is not skidding on the ground. The part which is in the contact with the ground is actually at rest. So the friction in rolling is actually considered as static friction. Now in rolling, when there is forward slipping, we will come across these words called forward slipping and backward slipping. It's like as if the car is skidding. You try to brake the car is skidding, or you try to accelerate the car is skidding. In those cases, there is kinetic friction. But as long as the car tires are purely rolling, the friction is always static. Okay. So whenever you're talking about a car tires are rolling, so you don't ever talk about the kinetic friction there. It's always static friction. Okay, I mentioned in the topic of friction already that it's not just the relative motion between the bodies. It's always a relative motion between the surfaces which are in contact. Of course, the ground and the wheel are in relative motion, but the ground and the part of the tire which is in contact with the ground, they don't have a relative motion in between them. They are actually at rest. Okay, the wheel is rolling. Okay, so there's a difference. So that's why not just in any case, like whenever you have a car running, you have a car running in pure rolling, whenever the tires are in pure rolling, it's always a static friction. It is never the kinetic friction. When the car starts skidding, when there is slipping, then you call it as a kinetic friction problem. All right. So that's it. I think you people, I think I cleared all the doubts for you people. We will discuss about more doubts tomorrow. If you have more, are there any hands raised? No, I don't see any hands raised. So is pure rolling is an ideal condition? It's not exactly ideal condition, but in theory, we talk about as an ideal condition. That's all. All right. It's just a theoretical ideal condition, pure rolling. It's not exactly true. If it is just completely ideal conditions, car tires shouldn't wear off at all. Okay, the car tires, they don't wear off, but there is a bit of a kinetic friction in between them. But in theory, we don't consider that. Okay. But when we turn, the tire is skidding. No, when we're turning, even in theory, when we're turning, the tire is not skidding. In reality, when we're turning, yes, the tire is definitely skidding, but in theory, it's not. Okay, we cannot consider that. It's a much complicated idea. So we just consider it as a static friction problem. Okay, Aniket. So that's it, guys. Thanks so much for today's session, and we will talk about tomorrow's session. You send me doubts right before the tomorrow session, and we will discuss all the doubts tomorrow. All right. Thanks so much, and bye-bye.